welcome back to the Guides Network on the Your Lake Fork Guide fishing channel. I gotta admit, guys, you kind of got the short end of the stick today. You guys kind of got jobbed over here. Today's segment is me. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about how I use a chatterbait, and again, a good versatile technique that targets, that's a bait that'll get bigger bites than your average techniques will. So it'll be something good for y'all. I've got a lot of time throwing a chatterbait. I'm a shallow water fisherman primarily. I love to fish around grass, and a chatterbait's one of the best year-round tools you can use in shallow water around grass. I hope today helps. If you guys like the video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Remember, go ahead and hit that subscribe if you want to see more like it. And again, tell all your friends. We appreciate you guys sharing the videos, letting other people know what we're doing, what we're trying to bring to y'all as far as fishing knowledge on camera. We appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you in just a second. Alright, welcome back. Coming to you on the water for another how-to instructional, in-depth like always. You guys know how we do it. We go deeper than anybody else will as far as giving you guys instruction on how to catch bass. We're going to talk to you today about how to fish a chatterbait.
There he is. There he is.
Good one? Good one?
Not really.
Needs a net?
No, we don't need a net.
There we go.
There we go.
Good fish, man.
There he goes. Decent little fish.
Another chatterbait fish, baby.
There he is.
Good deal.
So,
Got us another chatterbait fish. Kind of got the little chatterbait, little rattle trap deal going. Alright, guys. So first let's talk about the different styles, brands, colors of chatterbaits that I use. As far as the brands, there's two that I use. One is the original Z-Man chatterbait, and yes, the components on it are not really durable and tough. These baits will break on you, but there's just something about that original blade design and that original chatterbait design that just gets bit more than the others. That's just the way it is. I mean, I hate to say that, but that unfortunately is the truth. I mean, that original bait just has a different vibration to it. There's something a little bit different that just gets bit more. The other brand that I use that has a different action, but it's a very erratic action, and it's a very good bait, and it will get bit sometimes when the Z-Man won't. It's just such a different action to it, is the Nasty Thumper. It's made by a bait company called Finch Nasty. A guy named Alex Finch, he's a local guy here to DFW, East Texas area, and he makes these baits. As far as colors go, it's pretty darn simple, really. There's about 4 of them that I go with. First one is white, just solid white. There's a little silver flake in that skirt with a white trailer. I'll go solid white. And then green pumpkin, solid green pumpkin is another color that I use a bunch. And then green pumpkin with this orange belly. This was kind of kept secret for a long time around Lake Fork. The secret's kind of out now. A lot of people still don't know about it though. But that green pumpkin with that orange belly on that trailer just really mimics a bluegill, brim, and also that vibration and that flash of that orange is a good mimic of crayfish or crawfish in the early spring pre-spawn time. Just that color vibrating around is a good imitation of that. The fourth color that I'll throw that I don't have out here today, just didn't have one handy, is a black and blue with a black and blue trailer. I'll throw black if I got really muddy water. A chatterbait vibrates really hard, so if I've got really dirty water, really cloudy skies, I will throw a black and blue, black with blue flake chatterbait with same color trailer, match trailer up, same color. And again, that's on those muddy water situations, you know, that's a great bait because it's got so much vibration. Feel that dark color in there. It's just a bait that makes it easier for them to find it in that dirty, dirty water. On the trailer, let's talk about the trailer. This is the Lake Fork Trophy Lures Live Magic Shad. There's two different sizes that I'll use. This one and the size smaller. This is the 4-inch, the other one's the 3-inch. This is just the regular Live Magic Shad. The other one's called Baby Live Magic Shad. That is the only trailer that I will ever throw, hands down, no exceptions. The only trailer that I ever use on the back of a chatterbait is a Live Magic Shad and Baby Live Magic Shad. And again, in those same 4 colors. The green pumpkin, the green and orange, the white, and the black and blue. There's just something about that Live Magic Shad, and you guys can kind of see the way it's made with that tail that'll move back and forth, you know, kind of like in an S-curve. With the vibration of the chatterbait and that tail going back like an S-curve behind it, there's just something about that bait on the back of that chatterbait that just, it gets bit more than anything else you can put on there. And I'm pretty sure if you watch anybody that's a professional fisherman throwing a chatterbait, I would say 80 to 90% of the time they're going to have a bait like this, you know, this bait itself or a bait made just like this one on the back of a chatterbait. For the rod, reel, and line setup, you know, you don't want to overpower it too much. They bite that chatterbait kind of soft sometimes. This bait, we fish this bait a lot in the cold water when they don't bite real aggressive. So you need a rod that's got to have a little bit of a tip, but at the same time, you're fishing a lot of heavy grass. You got one single big, thick, stout, heavy wired hook, so you want a lot of backbone too. I want to go to a 7-foot heavy. That to me is ideal for a chatterbait. I feel like when you start getting into the longer rods, you kind of get in between. You either don't have enough strength because it's got too much tip, or you have too much strength. It's too, you know, a big flipping stick is too much. You'll rip it out of their mouth when they're not biting it real aggressive. So for that reason, I like a 7-foot heavy action rod on a chatterbait. It just seems to be the right deal for me. I almost always fish this thing on braid. I'm always around grass when I'm fishing this, and you know, vast majority of the time if I'm fishing chatterbait, there's grass around. And when I'm fishing heavy grass on this thing, you know, it's got that big blade on the front, it's vibrating so hard, I don't think there's any way they're paying attention to that line. You know, even if they could see it, I don't think they care, because they're just biting out a reaction from something vibrating that hard right by their head. So I don't worry about them seeing it. And when I'm fishing grass, if I'm not worried about the fish seeing the line then or hearing it, then I'm going to braid every time, because it's a lot easier to fish braid in grass. It cuts the grass when you hook the fish and he runs down in the grass. That braid will actually cut the stems of that grass and help you get that fish up and out of there. So 50-pound braid, 50-pound Power Pro is the brand that I use. 50-pound braid is the line that I always use 100% of the time on a chatterbait. Different sizes. Basically, there's 2 different sizes I use, a 3/8 and a half. And to be honest with you, the half ounce, rarely use the half ounce. 3/8 is something about the way that you can slow that 3/8 ounce bait down a little bit more than you can the half ounce, and it doesn't get bogged down in the grass. So when you're making a long cast, you have to reel that half ounce faster, and if you don't, if you try to slow down that half ounce, it will go down into that grass and bog down and bog that blade up, and it'll get too deep in there and you can't rip it out and free it. With that 3/8, you can slow it down and it'll still stay just on top of that grass a little bit better than that half ounce. For that reason, I almost always throw a 3/8 ounce chatterbait. When I'm throwing a chatterbait, like I said, I always want to be around vegetation, and the stuff that you can kind of see out to the side of me here, this, you know, emergent vegetation down the bank, that's not really what I'm talking about. You can fish around some of that stuff and that's okay, but what we're talking about here with the chatterbait is specifically underwater aquatic vegetation like hydrilla, coontail, milfoil, all that kind of stuff. That's what I want to look for. For me, I want to have that every time I'm throwing a chatterbait. I really don't throw it without that type of cover around. So what I'm going to look for, I'm going to look for the healthy grass. They'll be, when you're in grass flats, they can be massive, miles, acres and acres of grass. You want to try and find the good, healthy stuff. The other thing that I look for, because we do fish this bait so much in cold water, is I want a depth change. I want to find the deepest water in that grassy area, and I typically want to stay next to that depth change where it drops off into deeper water on the outside edge of that grass. And I want to be fishing this bait along that edge where that grass starts to scatter. That's where this bait shines, because it'll come through that grass and it'll hang up on the top of it, and you can pop it off and it'll shake and wander down. It's just a real good erratic bait when you rip it out of that grass like that. And that's where, to me, that's where that chatterbait works the very best. You know, specifically in the springtime of year, you know, when you get to like March, April, May, you're going to want a flat. Those fish relate a lot more to flat ground when they're spawning. So you're going to want to look for a grass flat that has, you know, a wide flat area on it, specifically during the springtime. You know, in the summer, in the fall, in the winter, you can throw this bait year round if you have grass. In the summer, fall, and winter, you don't necessarily have to have that big, massive flat. You just need those little subtle changes, that depth change and a grass edge on it. And that's really all you need to look for, to be honest with you. It's just about covering water and finding the best, healthiest grass with the right depth changes next to it. All right, on the retrieve for a chatterbait, you know, it's one of the most simple baits. It's kind of, you know, rattle trap's kind of this way, this is kind of this way. It's one of them deals where it's kind of like driving a bus. They either gonna get on it or they ain't. You know, it's really not in your control. The main thing is you want to be making contact with that vegetation. That's the number one thing. You have to make contact with the vegetation. So when I'm retrieving the chatterbait, I'm gonna make a good long cast. So we've got a good long cast out there. I'm gonna hold my rod at about a 10 o'clock angle away from me. Anytime that I'm fishing a bait that I want to rip out of grass, I always want to use this angle. I want to point that rod out for the most part and have just a little bit of upward angle at it. And what that does is that allows me more room to rip that bait. If I'm holding it way up here, if I'm holding that bait way up here, I can't rip it. I don't have as much room to pull on it to rip it out of the grass. Versus if I'm holding it out here, it pops right out. So I'm hitting grass right now. I'm down on the bottom, hit grass and pull right out every time. So that's something you really want to do when you're fishing grass, is point that rod out at about a 10 o'clock angle. So once you've got the bait out there and you got your rod at that good 10 o'clock angle, you now want to go ahead and start reeling the bait in. You want to use that reel handle to vary the depth of that bait in the water column. So now I'm just going to slow it down until I feel that grass, and once I feel that grass, I'll give it a little pop and speed it up a little bit. I'll start slowing down until I feel grass. Once I feel that grass bog up, I'll pop it, speed it up again. That's basically the only retrieve. That's the only retrieve that I use on chatterbait. That's the only thing. I want to make sure that I'm contacting that grass throughout the cast. Now, on the Hooksett, you know, that's one of the reasons that I fish that 7-foot heavy action rod. I fish that big braid, all that good stuff. Not only to deal with the cover, but on that chatterbait, like I said, they tend to swim up behind it and just kind of suck it in. So if you go to snatch it on that thing and bust it them, you're going to blow their mouth open and rip that bait right out of their face. So what you want to do on the Hooksett is kind of a sweeping Hooksett. You don't really want to crack them like a jig or a flipping Hooksett. What you want to do is, as they're coming along, when you feel them bite, you just kind of want to sweep, you know, maybe about sideways to 3/4 up. Just sweep it and reel as fast as you can. So make sure as you sweep that rod that you're turning that reel handle just as fast as you can turn it to get caught up to that fish. And then once you've got that big hook in them, man, they're stuck, you know. That's the thing about fishing that heavy action rod and that 50-pound braid, is that you don't need near as much power to drive that big hook home. It's got a stout hook on it, but with this setup, you don't have to apply all that sudden pressure to get that hook all the way in them. So try that sweep Hooksett. I bet you lose a lot less fish when you're fishing a chatterbait. Alright guys, that's it for the chatterbait. You know, it's a pretty simple technique, but I'm telling you, that bait, there's something about it. It just catches bigger than average size fish, especially in the cold water. My favorite time of year to use it is right now. Starting right now, going all the way through March and April is a great time to use a chatterbait. It catches bigger than average size fish, and it will get bit in the cold water no matter how cold it gets on your lake. You could have water temps in the upper 30s, and if you've got grass, they will still bite that chatterbait, I promise you. So you guys get used to it, get to know it, get good at it, learn how to feel that grass, learn how to feel that bite, and I promise you, you'll be glad you did. Great technique. Yeah, he don't count unless it gets in. Oh, God dang, I should have cut that. There you go.
Oh, dude. Well, guys, as y'all can see, chatterbait will catch them small, and they'll catch them big. This is Lake Fork written all over it, guys.
Hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it was able to help you. Hope you learned something from it. If you like it, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. We got some more how-to instructional stuff on all different techniques. We got some challenge stuff now. We got Day on the Water series. All kinds of stuff for you to check out. Just hit the subscribe button and then go look at all the different videos. I bet you'll like them. So we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. And you want to use your reel handle, just slow down. Hung on wood. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Hang on a second.
Oh, dude.
Oh.
Yes,
What is
sir.
that thing on the chatterbait?
Yes, sir. Look at that mouth.